Yeah. Yo, Black is time. Shout out to the chat. Knicks and Bruises is back. I got my guy, delusional Knicks fan, in the building. The Queen should be joining us shortly. What's going on, family? Happy New Year, to everyone, including you.
Yes, Happy New Year's as well, Tone. Thank you for having me back on, man. It was a pleasure. Had a fun last time, so I know this one is going to be even better.
No, for sure. Um, Excuse me, I'm just checking on the message. But yeah, man, I want to start with some non-Knicks news
Okay, let's get into it.
that could have been Nick news.
I know where you're going.
Donovan Mitchell, man, dropped 71 points last night against the Bulls, I believe.
Yes.
I didn't really witness it. I wasn't really trying to watch the highlights, but they was everywhere. It was all over the place. Everybody was talking about it. So I'm like, here we go. The Knicks fans is gonna go crazy when they start hearing about this and what could have been. Let me let the Queen in real quick.
Of course.
How's
Peace,
everybody?
Queen.
Queen, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Happy New Year's.
Same to you.
Queen, welcome back as always. I was just talking about Donovan Mitchell and his 71 points, and how the Knicks fans that still are upset. They're not gonna let it go. You know what I mean?
Right.
We didn't get him, and what could have been. What could have been. What was your thoughts when you heard the 71 performance?
I didn't really think much.
You
I
gotta
didn't
go
really
first.
think. Yeah, I didn't really think much. About it. I mean, I definitely wanted Donovan Mitchell here, but it didn't happen, and this is where we are.
That's right. You gotta move on.
Well, I'm gonna have to take the opposite of Queen. I still love you, but I'm one of those Knicks fans that was just sitting there every bucket, just saying, man, 71. With his ability to attack the 3-pointer, getting to the line. It's just. I hear a lot of people saying he's not a superstar. He's not that, but when a guy consistently put up numbers like that, you might have to put him in that category as a superstar. So.
Yeah.
We messed up, but I believe we got 2 more years to wait it out. 2 or 3 more years. So let's.
I mean, even if he's not a superstar, in my opinion, he's a star. Like there were some Knicks fans that didn't even want to give him that. And at 25, not even in his prime. And I think that's what bothered me the most was that it's just hard to get proven young players. Like that opportunity may not come around, right? We're talking about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's a budding star, but not proven yet, yet. You know what I mean? So you can probably get young players that's not proven players that's not young. He was both of them. And I felt like the entire Knicks organization's entire plan revolved around bringing Donovan Mitchell here, and it didn't happen. But all of that being said, I didn't look at that and be like, dang, I was just, what's next?
Like I said, I tried not to look at it. I was just mad because it was on every timeline. My friends was texting me, so I couldn't ignore it. Yeah, and I knew, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, here we go. The Knicks Twitter and all the comments, they're going to be going crazy about what could have been.
Especially how this team is playing. Yeah. Even had we had to give up RJ. Yeah, this is one of the things that people, keep saying the roster would have been stripped. Keep in mind, a lot of the players on this team would have still been here. They were looking for those draft picks. You would have still had Randle, Fournier, Cam, Rose, McBride, Sam, RJ, Grimes, Obi, IQ, a combination of those. And if you sent RJ, it would not have been all four, right? That combination. Everybody else would have still been on the roster. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I don't want to dwell on it, but I wasn't going to ignore it.
You brought it up.
I couldn't ignore it because I knew I've been hearing about it and reading about it and listening to comments, all day yesterday and all day today. So I figured, I'm not gonna ignore it. I'm not gonna run from it. I was one of the people that was okay with them not pulling off the move. Not saying I didn't want them, but again, without having the insight of knowing why they didn't, what was the breaking point and this and that, I'm not gonna kill them for it. And especially living through trades in the past that we didn't win. You know what I mean? So my whole thing was, whatever move we do, I want us to definitively win that trade. You know what I mean? And
But
that
you're never gonna know whether you win a trade until years
until,
down the line.
well, I know,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I mean, they may have felt something that said, "Hey, it ain't right." Who am I to be like, "No, you still do it," or "No, you add the extra piece," or you know what I mean, the extra piece, whatever it was. I'm not in that position. They got to deal with that heat. I'm still gonna root for the team. So
right. They
that
got to
was
deal with the heat either way.
Yeah.
yeah,
Whether you
yeah,
make the trade and it bombs, or you don't make the trade, and
absolutely.
it would have been, a good one for you. Either way, you got to live with it.
So next thing I wanted to talk about was but I think I'm gonna make a little segment every now and again when I can. The Knicks and Bruises injury report, right? Or injury update. So Toppin has been upgraded to doubtful. So
Okay.
he's not definitively out. I would still consider that a bruise as opposed to a nick compared to somebody who's questionable or probable. But yeah, that's my little update that Toppin is getting closer to returning. Upgraded from out to doubtful, is significant in my mind. We've seen doubtful guys play before.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
I don't think he will play after a doubtful, status, considering. I mean, I don't want to say we don't miss him, but him not being a integral part of what we're doing so far, and that's no slight to him. Brunson is more likely to play with a doubtful status,
Right.
Randall, etc., than Toppin coming off the bench. But still, good news. Doubtful. He should be back soon. Um, any thoughts on that? Any questions on how his return eventually changes what we're doing and where we at?
You want me to take
And
this,
then
Queen,
just
real
a
quick?
tidbit.
Yeah, yeah,
Does
yeah.
his name
No.
in the trade rumors, does that
Right.
mean anything to you as far as obviously how we've been playing as of late, including that 5 game losing streak?
Right. So it's crazy. The rotation that we see now is pretty much going to be the rotation because Obi's pretty much gone. I truly believe that they're working on something
Wow.
to kind of get Obi. Because look at the emergence of Julius. I know we're going to get into that, but you
Right.
have to look at this as something where the organization is just like, it's the reason why we're hearing that for Opie. So that's why you see in these Sim minutes, these Deuce McBride minutes, and even Fournier minutes, because we're seeing what we're going to have going forward. As much as that hurts, because I was ready to have Opie, lead the charge. This is why they're putting Sims in that spot to kind of get that defensive rebounding and some type of scoring. That's just my point of view. I hope it doesn't
Right.
happen, but just
Right.
my point
Right.
of view.
Right. Yeah.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
you go ahead, Queen. I'll go last.
um, I think if Obi is here, he's gonna go back into the rotation over Sims. I think that's what's gonna happen. Sims is barely in the rotation now, playing 8 to 10 minutes a game. In my opinion, um, I would prefer Sims to stay in even at the 8 to 10 minutes. I just think, in terms of, Obi can definitely help that second unit offensively, because it's anemic at this point. Um, but defensively and rebounding wise, you're just not going to get that from Obi. You know,
Ooh,
um,
sure, and that hurts. I'm sorry. I read that comment. That hurts.
but he could help us on offensively in that second unit, because right now We're not getting much from it. We were outscored by Phoenix 40-13. You muted.
There we go. I don't think Obi's as good as Gone. And I do agree with you, Queen, when he's back. I think he's back in the rotation with that, 8
Mhm.
to 10 minutes, which would actually be a drop in usage compared to where he was prior to the injury.
You don't think his minutes would go back up to the 17 he was getting?
I don't.
Wow.
I don't. I,
Okay.
I think I think I think the lineup may even get extended, and we have this three center um usage, and we may still see Sims some at the four. Um,
Right.
so I think Sims. I don't know if Sims is going to be out completely. I think we'll still see Sims periodically. Based off of lineups, based off
Right.
of foul trouble, based off of different things. The fact that Tibbs now knows, all right, I could use him at that four spot as well.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and Hartenstein may not be playing well on a particular night. We may need more defense than offense on a particular night.
Right.
And we may get the offense from Obi as opposed to Hartenstein, and then we may get that defense from Sims. So I think all guys will be safe. I think minutes will just be reduced for Hartenstein overall, Toppin overall, and Sims kind of staying in maybe like a 5 to 8 minute range.
Okay. We
No,
shall
that
see.
could happen.
I'm sorry, somebody said something. I think
No,
my
so yeah,
headphones.
I
no,
said we shall
Oh,
see.
yeah,
Yeah, it can
it
yeah,
could
happen.
we
happen.
we shall see. Um, Julius Randle, the redemption season. Uh, we talked about it heavily in the off season. Um, I I think I was one of the few that kind of felt like he could come back and redeem himself again, based off of him doing
Mhm.
it in year two, which kind of was a redemption year for him as well. What I will say is my belief was in his ability to perform the way he's been performing, particularly as of late, last 20 games or so. But overall this year, the numbers are not far from 2 years ago, and some of the advanced stats and the advanced numbers are even better.
Better.
You, you
Yep.
know, with the
Mhm.
percentages of how he's shooting.
Mhm.
Um, Pleasantly surprised in that. Where I am shocked, I didn't think there was a recovery from the fan base. Now, don't get me wrong. There is
Not a
still a
full
large,
recovery.
yeah, there's still a large fan base out there that is anti Randall. Get him gone. Trade values up. Yes, let's move him now. Like that still exists,
Yeah.
Right.
but they're not as loud as they've been. Some of them have converted back to cheering for him. You know, I'm not gonna say people are out there apologizing like 2 years ago,
Right.
but they're pleasantly happy with his performance, and questioning whether he's the guy that we should be moved on from. And this goes from the fan base in general, the comment sections that I frequent, and also some of the other podcasters who behind the scenes I've noticed, and spoke behind the scenes about how I enjoy every podcast, but some of these guys was just blatantly, I don't care, I'm not championing Randall. Like he could have a good game, they'll talk about everybody else on the team, won't even mention it. Oh, and Randall had 23 and that, you know what I mean, like they won't even like go in depth. But as of recently, I've noticed even some of those guys have changed their tune, and it's just interesting to me. But yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on Randall's turnaround performance? Can he keep it up? I think he's probably in a better position to reach the All-Star team than Brunson currently. Obviously Brunson has missed some time, and that has a part to do with it. But yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on Randall's redemption season?
Queen, you want to take that? I'll go after.
And I know you just did a show talking about, so you're probably gonna touch on some of the same things. But go ahead. I think you're muted too.
Sorry, my dog was getting out of hand. For me coming into the season, it was never an issue about his talent. It was about, his mentality and his head and where would it be, and I wanted to give him another season before seeking a trade to see if he can rebound from that. And also to see how he would play with a point guard on the team and not being the primary facilitator of the offense. And, I think that, I've been able to see both, you know. Um, I don't even, people are still getting into, he argues with the ref. I mean, you see that with, I can't tell you how many players in the league. That's not an issue with me. And a lot of it is warranted. He just does not get calls. And I don't know if that's because he's a physical player and they having a difficult time figuring out who's initiating the contact. I'm not sure, but he just doesn't get calls. And I think Brunson has been good for him. Don't get me wrong. He's worked on his game himself, you know, but, it takes a lot of pressure off, where you're not the only one on the team. The ball can be spread around. Somebody else can come through. Somebody else is handling the ball. He handles the ball sometimes, but even when Quickly is in the game, he'll give the ball to Quickly. Like he's so over it. Let me just get down the court and get to my spots. Also, I like the fact that he basically takes his shots from 4 places on the floor: the 3-point line, the post, facing up at the foul line, where he's either going to drive or he's going to shoot the jumper. He's not taking wild fadeaway jumpers. He's not bailing smaller players out. And matter of fact, he's calling for the pick and roll so that he can get mismatch onto a smaller player. And he's not bailing that player out. He's taking them to the line. He's posting them up. He's shooting over them. So the recognition is really good from Randle, and he's just all over the boards, like just beasting on the defensive boards, the offensive boards. He's just, and that shot just looking so good right now with the nice height on it and the rotation. I just like the way he's playing. And defensively, he's engaged, not like the first, 10, 15 games where I was like, what is going on here? He's engaged defensively, and 100% no. But when you think about all of the players that take on the offensive load for their team, how many are 100% play every possession to the max on defense? They don't. So I'm really happy with what he's doing defensively, and I'm really excited about this team. When RJ gets back, he's playing well. And Brunson, he's been injured, so a lot of people are forgetting, but not me. I'm not forgetting, who Brunson is. So yeah, Randle is playing well, and that's an understatement. And I think he can continue to do it, because you ever see a player who's hot? They shoot like 80%. Everything they shoot is going in. I don't have a lot of confidence in a player like that, because at some point it's going to dry up. Randle didn't even shoot that well last night. I think he shot like 39% or something like that. Still put up 25 points, 16 rebounds, 28, 16, and 6. So I do think that it is sustainable.
2 things before you go. I wanted to before you go, delusional. Queen, are you encouraged? Now, granted, he's not shooting 40% from 3 like 2 years ago, but the percentage is, pretty close to 45. I mean 35, I believe. I think it's like 35, and then point plus 5, 5 or 6 or whatever. But the increase in his percentage obviously based off of last year, based theoretically, or not theoretically, but based off of his career, this would be only the third time, I believe, in his career that he shot over 34%, which he's currently at. But, I know you had them concerns about the attempts, and
Right.
those have gone up.
Yeah.
So,
Sometimes 11, sometimes
yeah,
10.
I mean, I think he's averaging 7.5. At one point it
Oh.
was definitely 8. But it's 7.5, closer to 8, where, last year I think it was 5.5. I think the year before that it might have been
Mhm.
3.5 or something to that extent. I would think it has to be a little encouraging that even though the he's not at 40, his volume has gone up and his percentages is still theoretically at his highest it's ever been, minus obviously 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to say about it, because if you take out the first part of the season, I'm not quite sure how many games that would be. He's shooting like
Mm.
41% over a significant stretch of the season. So I know a bit earlier in the season, I didn't like it. I didn't like that he was taking so many shots, and at that time was shooting like, I don't know, 30, 33%. And also I didn't like the quality of the shots. Some of them would just he would just come down and shoot it early in the shot clock. So I think what has changed is, one, he's much more disciplined when he takes the three. A lot of them is not just right in the middle of the coming right down and just pulling up for a three, clicking his heels. Some of them he was just clicking his heels like a bunny rabbit throwing it. I'm like, what is he doing? So he's much more disciplined in terms of when he takes his three, and he's shooting it better. When you look at his games, 50%, 40%, 38%. Each game, when you look at his 3-point percentage, I really don't have anything to say about it at this point. I think as long as they're good shots, I'm okay with it, the way he's been shooting. And hopefully, there's recognition that, some nights you don't have it, don't shoot it, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
Yeah, I
and
don't
we've
I
seen
don't think
that
he
from him
has
too.
that in his game though. I don't think he has that. He's gonna pull.
You're gonna pull it. Yeah,
He's
you're
gonna
right.
pull.
You're right.
All right, floor is yours.
All right. So yes, I was one of the individuals that pretty much didn't think that Julius can get it around because of his form. That Queen brought it up. His form, he was not aligned up with the rim. He wasn't squaring up. His rotation looked ridiculous, and it wasn't similar to that year that he was working out. I chalked it up to him getting the bag in the all season. You worked hard, you trained, you had the pandemic season, so you had extended time period. Then of course he had the kid, so all these elements just kind of took him out of the game. But now you're seeing this resurgence, and this I truly believe is he's in the gym. He's literally working on that jump shot constantly. I do want to bring up some stats. So for the season, he is averaging 24.2, 9 rebounds, 9.9, 3 assists. But last 5 games, 41 minutes, he's putting up 33.6, 13 boards, 5.4 assists, 47 from the field goal, 41.4 from three,
Right.
and 76 from the free throw. That's telling you working on that jump shot. For the month of December was 28, had 11 boards, 4 assists on 47 from the field goal, 36 for three. So I think he can sustain it going
Yeah.
throughout the year. With having Brunson there, that's the floor general. He's taking all that pressure off. So where he's not always bringing the ball up, he's not tired in the fourth, because
Right.
you see Julius gets hot in the first, Brunson takes over in that second. RJ kind of takes over, every quarter because he's always going to attack the paint. But he knows when to pick his moments. He knows when to attack.
Right.
Before, Julius
Right.
just felt that he always had to carry, always doing that, which he'd do the spin-a-rooney turnovers, or he's giving the ball up. Now it's just like he's proven to me, like, okay, this is why it sucks, but this is why Obi's gone, because the organization is backing Julius. Like this, yes, you can trade Julius now, but what are we going to get that's going to give you this production that's going to demand a double team in the post, which now all the defenders is looking at post. Now you need players shooters around that, that's easy basketball. We trade him for like a Zach or anything. Zach is a perimeter player. He's more of a shooter rather than someone that can demand a double team in the post. I believe demanding double teams in the post is better than outside the perimeter, because now
Right.
you have the weak side that can work a little bit better. So it's one of those situations where, yeah, Julie's here to stay.
Yeah, and I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all. So do a lot of players got to prove it in the playoffs.
Shout out to Pudge Nights.
Yeah.
What
You
I
know,
will say is you're right. He does. Like, obviously, great season, bad playoff performance. First time there. You know what I mean? Number one, I think, this is my argument some years ago when we had the young roster, where I wanted us to fight for a playoff spot, and a lot of fans was like, tank, tank, tank. To me, it was more valuable for those young guys to get to the playoffs, whether they got swept or not, but feel that atmosphere. Understand what it takes to win there. Understand there's a difference between the
100%.
playoffs and the regular season. It don't matter how good you are, best record in the league. You could get swept in the playoffs if you don't know what it takes once you get there. So that experience that he got, I think that will be valuable. The addition of Brunson in the playoffs, I think, like, we talk about what Brunson has brought to this organization, this team so far. I don't even think we can even begin to fathom what it's going to mean in the playoffs. You
right,
know what I mean? The experience that he has, the mentality he has, and obviously we talked about this is something the team's been missing, but like Cleaner said, Randall's been missing it as well. So I think that's going to help him in the playoffs. But by all means, you're absolutely right. He does. Um, but so do every other every other guy on the roster right now. You,
right,
you know what I mean? We got to get there, and then we got to prove who we really are, or who we really can be.
right.
Yeah, I think the Knicks they're built to be a playoff team. When you really think about it, you get to slow the tempo down, you get to grind on defense, which is our
Right.
pretty much our identity now.
Right.
Our situation was, yes, putting the ball in the court, but you got Brunson. We see what Grimes is doing. Miles is out there occasionally hitting threes. Mitch is dribbling the ball between his legs now, so maybe that game could expend a little bit more. And then we got Hartenstein with, you can play the post and he can, do things. So we're cut for a defense team. We just got to get there. Once we get there, I feel good about at least winning a series, depending on who we match up
Wow.
against.
My
Wow.
biggest concern currently is probably, like, I love the fact that we probably have kept the most teams under 100 points this year. You know what I mean? I love the fact that that's becoming part of our identity, who we are. Like, it's not even
Right.
surprising at this point. My concern, moving forward, and hopefully we kind of get this experience during the regular season as opposed to in the playoffs. But one of my concerns going into the playoffs is, have we figured out how to win it down the stretch? You know what I mean? How have we figured out how to close out the games? Like, obviously,
Right.
in this 5-game win streak, that was the problem, right? We
Right.
wasn't closing out games. We wasn't
Right.
finishing. Prior to that, we saw Brunson, the guy who gets all the praises, Chuck, choke down the stretch,
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
and lose us a game at the line. You know what I mean? Like, when
Yep.
he's, it's almost like, yo, this is why we brought him here. And that was, he had a "this is why you brought me here" moment, and kind
Right.
of choke. Now, granted, I'm okay with it. Not living in the past. I'm glad he got that out his system to actually be in that moment, because now the next one, Brunson, I feel like he's the type. It's not gonna dwell in his head like, oh, I missed these free throws before. It's gonna be like, oh, here's my time for redemption. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm definitely I think that's part of that value I was talking about that Brunson will bring.
Right.
But the overall team, and just, I mean, I don't want it to be just on Brunson's shoulders.
Right.
I want us all to kind of collectively figure out how to close out wins, tight games down the stretch. We've seen it maybe twice, but we've seen them falter probably a little bit more than we've seen them actually close them out. You know what I mean? So that's my only concern.
Could I
A
interject
valid one as well.
quickly?
Absolutely.
It's that Dallas game. That's on Tibbs. I'm explaining how that's on Tibbs, right? So of course, Luca got fouled, went to the line. If you look at it, Knicks did not fill the box, and nobody boxed out the shooter. That's the primary. Queen, like you said, you coach. You at the free throw line, you boxing out. Someone needs shooter, and you box out everybody else at the line. Nobody boxed out Luca. We should have filled out the box. You're supposed to have an additional guy there. They literally had an empty spot. That I've looked at it on numerous occasions. I sent the IG to Alan Hahn, and he totally agreed. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm not the only one that saw that. So that was on Tibbs, and Tibbs makes these little minor, like he doesn't even adjust doing certain things. Even in the Toronto game, they wanted Mitch on Siakam. Mitch, I'm like, Mitch, I don't think Mitch is, quick enough to kind of stay with Siakam,
Right. Right.
and then Tibbs said he wanted big bodies on him. I'm like, no. If somebody's big and they putting the ball on the floor, coach, I'm putting somebody that's short that can get up on him, cause him to dribble, get the steals over. So I could put a Grimes on him or
He gonna shoot
Cam
over
Hey,
Grimes.
we
or,
got we
or
gotta talk about that
Cam.
though. We gotta talk about that in a little bit.
Well, remember,
Oh,
Siakam buckets were all going to the paint, and he went to the line like 20 something times. So I would rather him shooting over. Siakam, come on, his jump shot is not as a Klay Thompson or to that level. So that's just my
now
assumption with
if you're
that.
saying keeping him on the perimeter with a shorter guy, absolutely.
Oh yes, totally,
But
totally.
I think honestly, I thought the problem was we didn't have enough length on him.
You
Like
think so?
I do. I felt like
He's just hard to guard, and once he gets going, it's a wrap because he can post up, he can put the ball on the floor, he can shoot over the top. You adjust, he adjusts. You
I
know,
think the whole
Clearly, right.
Mitch thing was I think because Tibbs saw something when Mitch tried to step up and guard Giannis a little bit.
Oh yeah, I
I
remember
think I
that.
think I think he was trying to say, all right, maybe this is a easier version of that. But he was out there looking like Giannis that night.
Oh man.
but I mean, he didn't keep Mitch on him, so I'm
No,
not
no,
gonna get
no.
on a coach for trying
Yeah, he
throwing
didn't keep Mitch on
different
Giannis either.
things. Yeah, for doing throwing different things, on him. It's not like Mitch played him the entire night, and that's
No,
why he had 50 points. Like
no.
we tried, different things, and it just didn't work. But listen, Tibbs is not perfect, but I'm not blaming Tibbs for Dallas. Even he should have had somebody over there.
That's the
You up?
game. Oh, I'm
That's
sorry.
not the
I'm sorry.
game. You up 9 points with 30. The game was free throws, and the games was not getting key rebounds. That was one of them. You know what I mean? But the Knicks lost the league. Tibbs was not on the floor when that happened. Tibbs was not the one who missed the 2 free throws. Or I think we were 0 for 4 or 1 for 4, down the stretch, or whatever it was. But I'm not saying that Tibbs is perfect and he doesn't make mistakes, but I'm not putting that win on that one play because we didn't have, and we went into overtime. What happened then?
Well, I knew overtime was done from. I think everybody knew overtime was done once we got into overtime.
I did. I definitely did. Like I felt like the momentum was gone. Like you know what I mean? They had the momentum, you know what I mean? We had the pouting, like, you know what I mean? The sad face. So I didn't think there was a chance to be honest. And I don't usually feel that way watching this team. You know what I mean? Whether we bring it into overtime or you know what I mean, we have the lead in it. Like I usually have faith until something crazy happens, but something crazy happened.
Oh, yeah.
Queen, I missed
Yeah. Yeah.
your last show and I missed Sim's last show. Shout out to Sim. I know he was gonna talk about some trade rumors or trade
Yeah. I
did
think it was, I don't know if we talked about anything other than the Obi rumors.
Obi to Indiana.
Yeah, I don't know if we
What,
talked
what
about anything other than that.
what were your thoughts on that? I read something today as well about, the Knicks still monitoring Zach Levine as well.
I just feel
Um,
like the Knicks need a player. Like you're gonna trade Obi for a draft pick. I mean, like, I guess you can't ever have enough, but I just feel like the Knicks need players. I like McBride. I like Sims. I just don't think they're ready for big time minutes right now. Right now, you know. Um, so on that second unit, Cam is not in there. Fournier is not in there. Grimes is starting. Who's on the Rose is not Rose. Who's on that second unit other than Quickly?
I mean, I agree 100%. Um, and
So
and that.
bring me a player, please.
So, what was your conclusion of the OB? Like, you saying you prefer, if you move it, whomever, you preferring a
If
player
they
of
move
value.
Obi,
Okay.
who I would like on Indiana, which I don't think we will get, is Jalen Smith. The power
Hmm.
forward that plays for Indiana. The thing
You
about
don't.
it is
Wait, why don't you think we would get him?
because he's starting for them. He's
Mm.
he's starting for them. Um, maybe maybe if the Knicks can get Jalen Smith, I'm happy. He's
No, because
not playing as well as they thought he would play. So maybe his stock is down. Maybe they see Obi as a better fit. If we can get him, fine. But I like him because he can defend, he can rebound, and he can hit the three. Though he's not shooting that well. I know because I had to drop him off my fantasy team. He's not shooting. That well, and he blocked shots. It's just not a lot of minutes left behind Randall though. But I like him.
What's his
see,
height, if you mind me asking?
6'10",
Yeah,
at least 6'10".
Okay.
yeah.
Um, see, I'm not a fan of trading Obi. Um, I don't see or I don't. The fact that the reports are that, honestly, what I mean, that the Pacers are interested in Obi. It's not that we're shopping Obi. Um, I would think they want him as a starter and not as somebody coming off the bench. Um, Secondly, what I read was they like the thought of Obi next to Miles Turner. So they would in turn be keeping Miles Turner and potentially extending him and taking him off the trade market. So I don't see a world where they wouldn't be willing to give up Jalen Smith.
I hope they are.
I do like Jalen. If it was up to me, I would probably keep Obi in that particular scenario. But
But I think Jalen is better than Obi. He just brings more to the table than Obi. Obi's
yeah,
gonna
he
hit the
he would
three for
fit
you.
in seamlessly because he
Ooh,
defends. You know what I mean? Like you said, he can stretch the
rebounds.
floor. He can rebound. Um, I mean, yeah, he's not. It's funny. He's not gonna be a guy that the fan base is gonna be like, "Yo, we gotta choose between." You know what I mean? Like he's gonna
Right.
come in and just be a role player. I think the fact that of the fan base, not me per se, they just feel like Obi is a star in the making, superstar. You know what I mean? Like they
Hmm.
feel like sky's the limit. So and I see potential in Obi. I agree that I think Jalen Smith would fit in seamlessly and probably just fit in more roles than Obi does. You know what I mean? He could probably play some five as well. You know what I
Right.
mean?
He can.
So yeah. I
He
mean,
can.
interesting. Did y'all touch on the Harris,
I don't
Tobias
remember.
Harris?
I don't think so.
Um,
I
thoughts?
stepped out for a while, so maybe when I stepped out, they did.
What are you guys' thoughts on move for Harris? Especially obviously if it doesn't any move that I'm really talking about, I don't think it has to affect the immediate rotation. You know what I mean? Like for us to pull it off. But what's your thoughts on Harris in general, and then what it potentially would take?
All right. Oh well, I'll kind of go back on the Indy thing. If we do remotely Indiana trade, you got to give me Chris Durante and Benedict Mathurin to remotely be in a conversation for Opie.
Oh,
Um,
Mathurin
um,
for Obi Toppin? Come on.
yeah,
He was the
Mathurin is
sixth pick.
That's
Mathurin's
that's a
off the
Tibbs.
table
That's
from
a
what I
Come
Tibbs
on
read.
type
now.
player.
Come on.
That's a Tibbs type.
Diarte is on the table, so I could see Diarte and
I would
Smith.
slam the phone down
That's
if
a
you.
Tibbs type player.
But I know
I don't know, but that's a Tibbs type player. I wouldn't agree, but I'm just basing it
no,
on
no, no,
if
no.
I
I
was
like
like a.
Mathurin.
Oh, okay.
Oh no,
Oh,
no.
okay. I
Yeah,
thought you
I
were
he's
saying
saying
like
Mathurin wasn't
Mathurin.
he was
good.
in
I'm sorry.
I'm
I
Indiana.
thought you were
saying
saying he
that
wasn't good.
you're gonna give them Obi Toppin and you're gonna ask for Mathurin and Duarte.
Oh,
I
well,
mean,
of
come
course they're
on.
going to, add something additional, some draft picks, maybe something like. But that's where I would base it.
I mean,
If I
you're
was the
not
Knicks.
getting. They not. They just drafted him.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Nah,
Mathurin's off the table for
He's
nah.
off the
sure.
Yeah,
table.
yeah,
You
yeah,
think?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Diarte's
yeah, yeah.
available.
Yeah. But he's
Diarte is
6'5" as
available.
well. Do we need another guard?
And that's what I stated as well, too. Right? I looked it up. I'm like,
I thought he was 6'6",
he
6'7".
looked 6'7", stocky
No, he
dude.
do.
I was like,
He
oh
do.
man, he would have been phenomenal on the team. But as far as Harris, I can't see us benching Grimes the way he plays defense to pretty much put RJ at the 2 and then have him come in, because are you benching Harris? That's
You
the
don't.
question.
I don't like when you say benching, but he could be in contention for sixth man of the year, and the guy that kind of is the guy on that second unit, and a go to guy, a veteran guy. I don't think you necessarily have to start him. And to be honest, I also feel like he's a guy that could spell Randall some minutes at the 4 and fit in with the rest of the starters when need be.
Yeah.
I
He
don't
is a
think you
4.
have to
I don't
start
see
him.
him as a 3. I don't think he can defend that position.
Yeah,
I don't see him as a small forward at all.
Okay. Yeah. So
maybe
then
in the
it's
unit, not in
like
the
we
first
don't know
unit.
what to do. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not somebody I would want on the Knicks, though.
Mm.
I mean, I can
He plays
see
the same
him.
position as Randall, in my opinion.
Like if
I
he,
agree. I think he could play the 3 in the second unit as opposed to the 3 in the starting unit. And be utilized that way. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I wouldn't want to give up more than anybody that is out of the rotation, whatever makes the salary match. And I'm not giving up unprotected. But if you want,
Tobias Harris is a good player now.
no,
For me, it's just about fit. He ain't no scrub now.
no, not at all.
what
Not at all.
position did he play in Orlando?
He started off as a 3, but he's better suited as a 4.
Okay.
And honestly, when in the heat of the trade Randall, he's got to go last year turmoil. It's crazy because I was one of the people, still kind of defended Randall, even though I'm like, oh, he gotta get his act together, but it's salvageable. I brought up Harris for Randall trade then just to see, what the temperature was like, and a lot of people was against that then. So I say that to say I know Harris's value and what he's capable of. You know what I mean? Like he is a good player.
And don't he makes a lot of money at this moment too, right? Over 20, 25.
Yeah, it would take the like the Fournier, the Rose, like like all those, but those
now,
guys
if you
are
say
kind of
that right, then
and that's what I'm saying. Those
that's
two, and
awesome.
yeah, I would do it, and I would do it. It's not something I would like hang my hat on, but or like this the move that's gonna, but it makes us better and it solidifies that second unit. Now we have somebody that could go out there and put up 20 plus a night, you know what I mean? And
I will say this:
going against second unit guys, oh my god,
he's a starter in this league. The only reason you're not starting him is maybe because of defensive purposes. He's much better than Grimes. He's much more proven than Grimes. He is a starter in this league, right? So, you putting him on the second unit. Let's not act like Grimes has done something in this league just yet. For defensive
Yeah,
purposes, you're
and
gonna keep Grimes in the starting
and
lineup.
yeah, and
Right.
and positional reasons, like you say, like you think he's better at the four, he can't play the
I
three.
believe he's better
You
at
know
the
what I
four.
mean? Like
Yeah,
it don't matter what Grimes is doing because he's not affecting
doesn't play
Grimes'
that.
position.
Right,
You know what I mean? So
right.
so the argument honestly would be, is he a better fit as a starter in that starting unit than RJ is? And you know what I mean, I don't want to get into that debate. You know what I mean? Like, because I wouldn't care putting RJ
I
in the
think he is
second
better
unit.
than RJ right now,
But
but I just think
at the same
he's a
time, that would be
four.
at the three. That would be at the three. You know what I mean?
That's
So,
why I don't think he's a fit for this team because you're bringing him in to play a position that Randall is playing.
but no, that's why I would. That's why I'm saying. I know you saying he's a starter, but a starter could come off the bench. You know what I mean? Like I don't think that
Right.
affects anything, especially if you in turn are winning. You know what I mean? Like the only time that becomes an issue is when you're not winning. He already got his money. He's under contract. You know what I mean? He's not really fighting for the next contract. Like people know who he is. Um, you can argue his value is lower than it should be around the league because of who he's playing with alongside. You know what I mean? He's almost like the forgotten man.
Mm.
So and he's, yeah, I think it could work. It's not like the highest trade deal that I would have on my list, but I think it could work. Um and I had another one. Oh, the Zach Levine. Um last time we spoke about Levine, I was low on him. Obviously this was after the the two Bulls games, and kind of like what I've seen from him against us. But my thing was, I was low on him. And then it's the same thing with what you're talking about, Queen. Do you replace, if we get Levine and we're not moving RJ or Grimes, what are we doing there?
You have to move one. How are you getting Levine without moving one of those guys? Right? Who? It's
Okay,
gonna
so
take a lot to get. It's gonna take a lot to get Levine. They're not just giving him away for draft picks.
I mean, I think we say that a lot, but we never really know what the asking price is. If they're just trying to rebuild and retool, sometimes draft picks is the most important piece to that.
Draft picks is. It
Eh,
depends. Different teams want different things, right? In Utah reportedly wanted players, but their focus was on those three unprotected. But they wanted players too.
mhm,
There are some teams that want to get back a budding all-star in return because draft picks
are
may
uncertain.
or may not, so some people, you're going to do both in any trade, but some teams put more of a focus on one
So
than
do
the
you
other.
move RJ for Levine?
I mean, I guess I would, but I'll keep in mind that Levine is unproven too, but
And
he's a better skill player than RJ at this point in his career.
you not, yes, you
Oh
move
yeah,
RJ for
I
Levine.
agree. I agree.
Yeah,
Because
he's a better player. Injury prone, unproven,
Do
yeah,
but
you
he's
guys
still a
agree
better
with me
player.
that it makes more sense to move RJ than it does to move Grimes?
To me, Grimes, and I love Grimes. To me, Grimes is not even part of the conversation for like Levine. Like Grimes would not get it done for Levine.
no, I don't think so
No,
He
either.
no,
would be a
no.
throw in.
I he wouldn't be the centerpiece,
Right,
but I'm
right.
talking about what
From a Knicks
Grimes
perspective,
has brought to this defense. Obviously, if there's one thing that is a stain in Levine's career, is his defense.
yeah.
But
You
he's
know what I mean?
capable
So,
though.
huh?
But he's
You,
capable. He's
that's
capable. Which
capable.
is
Is it, when you say capable? It's like when I say potential. Like what you hear when I say potential.
well, I mean, I think
Like
what I
you
will
gotta do
say,
it. You gotta
you
reach it.
have to do it. But there's a difference between bringing in a guy who's limited defensively, even if they try, and somebody who have the defensive tools, but maybe haven't been held accountable, right? Levine has the tools to be a defensive player. Think about how Booker changed when Monty Williams got there. You know, he comes to a team that's a defensive minded team and he's going to be held accountable. He can play defense. He hasn't up to this point, but he can play defense.
I agree. I agree. The situation with that is we just need to understand what the organization wants to do first, because
Right.
you have all these picks. You know, you want to go for these stars. What position do you want to get this star at? You know, it's
Right.
the biggest
Right.
thing. It's just what position. You know, let's say Embiid become available, then it's like, okay, you'll make a move for Embiid, but does that fit with a Randall? You know, so it's certain things like you want to
Right.
go fishing for these superstars. That's, you know, disgruntled superstar. It can be a Shea Gildas Alexander. Then it comes to a situation with, okay, who you gonna move for him then? You know, it's not like it's a certified slot that you need to fill. You know, because yes, we have RJ who's been prominent for us. Good. You know, he can't create as much like Levine can or Shea Gildas Alexander. So that's why we're willing to trade him. Then you have Grimes who can shoot, but his defensive prowess is the main reason of why Tibbs will never let this guy go. You know, so it's just like, okay, they don't know what they want to do because Tibbs want to do one thing, organization want to do another, and we see that with the Cam trade, and now we're just stuck. So if we get a disgruntled player, then we're gonna be stuck in a situation of minutes distribution and things of that nature. So it's just like the organization need to be on the same page.
I feel you. Queen, I know you said 45 minutes, so whenever you gotta dip out, just you know
Yeah,
what I
we
mean, just
will.
let me know. Um I did want to highlight uh I think this is doing Sharon says his defensive rating is 113 for his career. That wasn't the comment. Chad B. Ryan, shout out to Chad B. He said Donovan just dropped 71.
Yes.
Yeah, that's funny.
Well,
Nah,
Zach did put up. I
like
think he put up 40 in that game too, though. So we can't say.
fair enough. Fair enough. And I get it. Most people don't agree with me. I still stand on. I think I would make the move for the Rosen
Oh,
before I did
100%.
Levine, and I think the immediate ceiling would probably be higher than the over. You know what I mean? Like the 5 year window of a ceiling. You know what I mean? Like so, I think the Rosen with his the experience he's gotten over the years, the knowledge he has over the years. Again, he's another guy that I feel like now you could fit him in with with RJ or with Grimes. It doesn't matter. He has that defensive stature. The only thing we're not getting, obviously, in addition, is the 3-point shooting. And to me, I don't even think that's true. I think we're not getting volume 3-point shooting, but value 3-point shooting. I think we still we would be getting with him, and the cost should be cheaper. You know what I mean? So now when we're talking about not having to include RJ, you know what I mean? I don't think we would have to. We could probably get him on draft merit as opposed to player merit, and trying to get the same value in return on the Bulls. So I still kind of stand on that part. I would prefer DeRozan over Levine. We talked about proven and unproven. You got to put DeMar in that proven category. You know what I mean? Now, granted, he didn't get to the promised land, but perennial playoffs. You know what I mean? Perennial playoff performances. Um, for the most part, he just ran into LeBron his whole life.
His entire life.
Um, and any pushback on that? You guys preferring Levine over DeRozan?
I 100% agree with you. DeRozan game is it's nowhere near next to Kobe, but that's who he idolized. That's who he, base his game about him getting to the line, his footwork, his ability to draw fouls, the perimeter game. He's not a 6'6" Jalen Brunson, but their perimeter games are similar. And you need that come playoff time, someone that can slow the game down, someone that can see these plays. And then he played under one of the greatest coaches of all time, which is Pop, and Pop taught him the ability to pass that ball and be able to see the game ahead of. So adding him will be awesome. The only thing is chat about to hate me was I'd rather him with Grimes than RJ. So, but that's my only take.
Yeah.
What if
Yeah.
it
I mean,
didn't cost you either one? Then it don't matter.
Right. So
You know, we may be able to move the Fournier contract and the Cam contract
and we might have
and
to send Rose back home as well.
send Rose home. You know what I mean? How the hell I didn't say that? I've been saying that all year. That's the only place I think he goes back to and plays anyway.
yeah, I'm not a fan.
Like
Yeah,
he's
I'm not a
sitting with
fan.
us and is okay
I'm
with.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying the Bulls is the only place he could either, like, whether he plays or not. I think he'll go there and be fine and be happy.
Yeah,
being Rose. What were you saying, Queen?
Yeah, I'm a fan of DeRozan, but I'm not a fan of him on this team. I think that you already got Randall, RJ, Brunson, who needs the ball in their hand to be effective, and then you're bringing in one more person. As it is, as far as our assist rate is, I think we're 23rd in the league. So basically, and that's 23rd in the league. So basically, when Randall gets it going, it's Randall. Then it's RJ's turn. Then it's Brunson's turn. It's just not a lot of ball movement in that offense. And I think you're just adding one more person, and somebody is going to have to take a step back, in that starting lineup. Because make no mistake about it, he's not coming off the bench. He's just not. So I would prefer somebody who doesn't need the ball in their hand unless we're moving him for one of those ball dominant guys. That's my only issue with DeRozan, but I liked him. I wanted him when he was a free agent. I just feel like we just got too many of those guys as it is.
You don't think anyone can be brought in and take a bench role, or no one can be brought in and maybe RJ slides to the bench, or I don't see,
He
obviously,
can, but at some
DeRozan
point their
moving.
minutes are going to overlap. Even if RJ goes to the bench, there's going to be times when all four of them are going to be on the court. So I just feel like you're not maximizing your lineup because somebody is not going to be, somebody is not going to be playing to their full potential. You're just not maximizing the lineup with that many guys. And that could be DeRozan now averaging 14. That could be RJ now averaging 14. And I'm sure they'll do, they'll do other things. But if we get a 3-and-D guy in here who doesn't really command the ball to put around those guys, I think you're going to get the offense will be better.
Now I agree with that sense. I was only going from the angle of DeMar over Levine. You would prefer. What's your take on those? Out of those two,
I think it creates the same issue.
Okay.
The only thing is that with Levine, I know one of those other guys would be leaving because there's no other way to do it.
So that would actually, from your point of view, that would lean
help.
you towards Levine,
right?
Knowing
because
that
it would help.
Yeah, but that contract he has is massive.
Listen, I'm okay if we don't go for Levine.
Yeah,
I'm all right.
Yeah,
I'm okay.
Massive. All right. Can I throw in two scenarios that might be delusional, but that's pretty much my take on Knicks take. After the season is done, and maybe Golden State doesn't do a great run, you think we can nab Klay Thompson? Or this one is very far-fetched. The way the Lakers are playing, and we pitch New York City to King James.
Nah, we're not that close.
Yeah,
we're not that close for LeBron. He got like 2 years left.
Well, and that's why, it's the end of the contract. He's not, I'm sorry, Braun is not winning the championship no time soon. So I think he knows that. He's definitely, it's not going to occur with the Lakers. Now, I only
Right.
say that is, just to throw it out there. It's just way far fetched, but I can see Braun. Remember, Braun dominated the East with subpar players. So you telling me with Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle, that's a playoff team. That's Eastern.
I think he's at the amount of money where even if they were trying to give him to us, we're gonna have to include players that we don't want to include. You know what I mean?
Right. You're
Like
gonna
we
have to
don't have
include
the.
play. Right.
Oh,
For
We're gonna
for a
just
2-year
to make
run.
the money match. We're gonna
This
have to include some
Well,
people that
not
we don't
money. I
want to.
think we can match the money. I think Lakers, what do they do not have that we have an abundance of? That once LeBron leaves, they're going to need, and that's draft picks.
Yeah, I'm not doing
They're
that.
gonna want young talent too. I'm not giving up
Okay,
draft picks for LeBron has 2 years left.
That's still King James.
You gotta save those draft picks for somebody that you're gonna get some years out of.
That's two. That's
Yeah, I'm
King
not.
James. That's King James though.
Hey, I'm more likely to see what kind of contract he's up for on his next after the 2 years and get his mind on the bench. You know what I mean? Like then 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 getting him now at he's got to be making like close to 50 million, right? After this last extension or whatever.
Oh, that I definitely didn't look up. I didn't do my research on that yet. I
It's
figured
got to
I'd
be
go over the
close.
ledge.
I know Chad B. Ryan says it's still LeBron though.
It's still
I get
broad,
it,
right?
but 50 million, that's a lot of salary to just to make the money match.
Right.
Let alone, you know what I mean, the astronomical amount of picks that they probably gonna ask for. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, well, like I said, it was definitely far fetched. Since we talking trade and we don't know what the direction Knicks want to go at all.
prior to the extension, I probably would have been, you know what I mean? I would try to do the math. But 50 million and draft picks, how many y'all want? You know what I mean? You talking one? Maybe you know what I mean? You're not giving you 4, 3.
So then, what about the Klay Thompson scenario? Proven shooter, defender. He definitely is not the old Klay.
That's my problem.
And you're gonna have to give up Grimes for that.
I mean,
like who
and
you giving up for
I mean,
Klay?
granted, he just dropped
you're gonna
what?
have to give up Grimes. Oh, 100%. 100%.
What he just dropped the other night that got overshadowed?
Oh, 50, 52?
41, 50 something, 52.
52?
Yeah.
Wow.
Just dropped 52. There's like Klay
All
back.
jump shots.
But it's not his jump shot that I'm worried about with him. Is he the defender he used to be? And I don't know that he is. Granted, he is splash brother. I've never been worried about a shot, even when his shot is not falling. You know, like they don't know how long it's gonna take. The shot is gonna come back. That's never gonna change. I think his value was in his defense more than just that jump shot. Because you could find a shooter. You could find, you know what I mean? You could find shooters all over the place. Granted, are they gonna be Klay Thompson caliber? No, but I think part of his caliber was his team. You know what I mean? Like you watching Steph. Oh, okay. You forgot about me for a second. And no knock on him, but that's part of what it is. Like Julius Randle draws attention. That makes it easier for other guys on the team.
Yes.
And you talking about he playing with Klay, I mean with Steph. Believe that makes a huge impact on his ability on the floor. But I'm not opposed to it, but I don't know if I'd rather get him at the point where he doesn't have to be a starter. You know what I mean? Like where again, we're just relying on the shooting. Him coming in the starting unit now, I don't think his defense is where it was to where it's gonna be as valuable pre-injury.
Well,
I mean,
like
listen, Tone, you trying to bring in all of these guys and bring them off the bench.
Bring him off the bench.
Yeah,
no. I'm not saying now off the bench. I'm saying later in his career where he could just be a shooter. I'm not saying bring him in as a bench player now. If he's here now, he has to start. But is his defense going to be as good as Grimes now? You know what I mean?
But it's going to be a net positive. because what he's giving you offensively is going to
Okay.
be a net positive.
I mean, I'm not opposed to it.
And
It
I
just gives
wouldn't I
me
wouldn't
Allen
get rid
Houston
of
vibes.
well,
Like,
you
and
would
I
have to
was a
get rid of
Houston
Grimes
fan,
though.
but once the injury came, which surprised me too, because I thought even with the injury, he's still gonna be able to shoot, which he was. You know what I mean? He just couldn't move,
Yeah.
couldn't run. Chavi said, but he could drop 50. That's a fact. He just dropped 50. Uh,
Yeah,
but
and
yeah,
that'll be two
the
plays that you
defense
gotta
is
worry about
nowhere
on the
near
court.
what it used to be, and I don't know if it'll ever get back to it for him. I think that's it for trades and any other trade like all right. Who we got next? We got the
San
Spurs,
Antonio. Yeah.
and then I hate jumping past one team,
Toronto.
but then we got Toronto. These are redemption games, or um the get back revenge games. These are revenge games. Let's start with the Spurs. I feel like honestly, there's no reason we should have lost that game. That was one of those games that made my stomach hurt afterwards. I don't know how we lost. All I know is we need to fix how whatever it is that caused us to lose that game. We need to fix it. I am looking forward to specific revenge moments for Mitchell Robinson. I think that was one of his low games like of the season. Um, but I am proud of Mitch. I feel like I haven't looked at his stats and seen if there's any difference in numbers this year, but um, I don't know if he's reached the average double double yet. You know what I mean? But he's definitely had a lot more this year, and I feel like he's making more subtle improvements. You know what I mean? Mitch is looking real good to me overall, but he has to have a bounce back game for sure. I think we win though. I don't know how we lost. I think we win. What's your thoughts on the Spurs coming up? What can we do to secure this victory?
I
Queen, you
mean,
wanna go?
I'll say about the last game, I don't think we should have lost that bad, right? But you can't come into any game without two of your top three players and think you're just going to win just from showing up. Once you take away those two players, your talent level comes down close to theirs. So the expectation that we was going to go in there and blow them out, I didn't think that. Now, to lose the way we did, I definitely have a problem, with that. But there's no guarantee you're going to take Brunson and RJ and you expect that you should still with who? Randall, and you hope Grimes going to come that day. You hope Quickly going to show up that day. You hope, who do
I
we
mean,
have? This is an offensively challenged team after our top three and lately Quickly. Remember, Quickly has been up and down this season.
yeah.
Grimes is up and down, which is fine. He's a second year player. Who do you have that is going to show up game in and game out after those three? Nobody.
I ain't gonna lie though. I was looking for a big game from Mitch. To be honest, I definitely was. Like I know Pirtle's name been all over the NBA this year. You know what I mean? A lot of teams is looking at him, but I thought Mitch was gonna come out and have one of them games that we be asking for and we love when we see. I expect that again coming into this game. Now granted, maybe to help. Obviously, Brunson's playing and what I mean, that's gonna make a huge difference. But I'm looking for Mitch to have a bounce back game. Certain players, certain teams, you know, DeAndre Ayton, he seems to get up for. You know what I mean? We've seen this year him stepping up to challenges of let me guard um Embiid alone on the island, no help. Whether that was the right thing to do or not, but you know what I mean. You got to
Right.
commend him for taking the challenge and trying to step up and do it. So I'm looking for Mitch to have a good bounce back game, and Brunson's return should be a win. Let's
The
let's
Knicks should
hope.
blow them out.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
now you Brunson is back. Quick has been playing, has been playing well. Fournier is back in the rotation. I know people hate when I mention Fournier, but Fournier is back in the rotation, right? He's shooting better than he was early in the season, which got him kicked out of the rotation. Because even with his defense, he was still in. I think
Hmm.
once he wasn't shooting, it was like, okay, now we
Right
can't
now you're
even
doing nothing.
justify, you know. Um, if the Knicks don't blow San Antonio out or win by really like a strong win, I'm gonna have a problem.
I agree. Fair
I'm
enough.
gonna have a problem.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. That game was horrible. But like you stated, we had two of our players out. And then of course Tibbs, I believe that was the first game that we played with these players out. So he still was trying to figure out what worked, how we were going to get the offense, how the defense was look. So that was a trial and error with that rotation and stuff. So that was pretty much with that. I believe we have a phenomenal bounce back. Like you said, JB is back. Fournier will be playing those crucial, hitting down those threes, which is definitely needed. And San Antonio just got spanked, 139 points they got put on them by the Nets. So
Hmm.
if we can contribute on that offensive end and move the ball, then we're fine. And we are top heavy with the offense. It's literally Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, and then it's RJ. Like you said, Quick will be
Right.
there up and out in, but Quick, I believe, did have 27 and 7
Oh,
against the
no
Spurs.
doubt. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
hopefully he can show out that game as well and give
That's
us
a fact.
numbers. But Grimes did had 9, so that was the disappointing aspect of that. So, like you said, hopefully these guys are contributing. It should be a walk in the park.
Then we got Toronto. I want it to be a revenge game. The Knicks need to feel like it got to be a revenge game. I don't know how they stop Siakam. Yo, he ain't get 71, but it felt like he did not miss a shot. It felt like he was doing whatever he wanted. It felt like it didn't matter who was on him.
Yeah.
I don't recall us doubling him often, which I think
Yes. I hope we
might
do.
need to be the adjustment that has to be made because after a performance like that, after a loss like that, and you playing them again, your mindset has to be there's no even if you feel like it was a fluke as the opposing team, your mindset has to be that this is not happening again.
But do you
Somebody,
double from the beginning? I think I would wait and see. I don't think I would double from the beginning. I think
I
I would
mean,
wait and see what type of game he's
that's
having.
that's fair. That's fair
Mm,
because he may just be having an off game, and now
Right.
you wasting that
right. And you
that
leaving
that
somebody else
strategy,
open
and you
and
leaving
letting them
somebody
get
else
hot.
open. That's fair, but that has to be already put into that system. You know what I mean? That all right. As soon as I put two fingers up, y'all know it's double from here on out. You know what I mean? And it has you gotta have that strategy put in play in your like an audible. All right, audible quarters audible. We're gonna change up and but yeah, whew, I didn't think we was gonna blow them out. Like that's the team that I felt like I didn't think we was gonna blow them out, but we wasn't supposed to lose like that, man, and have this guy having career numbers. But I'm confident. I'm confident. Toronto's been up and down all year. I feel like they are a tough matchup for us because of the length that they have um all across the roster, minus Van Fleet. Um, but this is gonna be another test, and I feel like the Knicks we do good with bounce back games. You know what I mean? Minus
Right.
Dallas, which I thought we was gonna come back and. I mean, we did. We played a hell of a lot better the second game, obviously, but we just didn't get the victory. But we tend to play teams better after they beat our butts once. So I'm banking on
Yeah.
that.
They're not playing well. 3-7 over their last 10. And I think they're currently in 12th place unless something happened last
Oh, here's
night.
here's the thing, though.
Mhm.
That is a fact. But I said it after that game, and I hope I'm wrong. But sometimes a team just has your number.
Yeah, no
Sometimes a
doubt.
team is just a bad matchup. We played them 3 times in the next 10 games. This is an important, and they're in our division.
Right.
This is important on many levels.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we got to figure out a way to at least play even with them. And I mean that like if we 2-2, you know what I mean? They can't sweep the series. They can't beat us 3 out of the 4 either. This is a division rivalry. This makes this is have playoff ramifications even if they're not in playoff contention. Because if you tie with somebody, I believe one of the next parameters is where are you in your division. So we're gonna have to figure out a way to win at least 2 out of these next 3 against them. Um, it's gonna be tough. I think we have Philly coming up in the next 10 games.
Oh yeah, I gotta look that
Yeah, I'm
up.
not sure.
It's really a bunch of redemption games coming up in this next stretch. So
Hopefully we're
hopefully
healthy.
say that again.
Hopefully we're healthy.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be hard to do that with. I mean, RJ was really coming along, and this is the thing: when he comes back, will he be able to get right back to where
Mm-hmm.
he was, before, or is there going to be a ramp up period
And
for him?
that was the problem. Excuse me, last year. If you remember, every time somebody hit their peak performance and it became like a consistency, they got injured or they got COVID every single time. Like guys were like this is how opportunities were coming about because such and such would have his best game of the year and then be out with COVID, and then
Right,
Grimes would come in and get his first start of the year or first minutes of the year, and they'd be like, "Oh shoot, Grimes is," and then he'll have 3 games like, "Oh shoot, Grimes is good." Then he got COVID or he got an injury. Like this happened like 3 or 4 times in the back to back to back.
right.
Next man up, it was great to see, and that man came up and performed, but then it was either injury or COVID. So hopefully we get healthy. Guys stay consistent in their peak performances. You know what I mean? Don't have to kind of reach that level again. Come right back and hit the floor running. Luckily, it's not the young guys that we're worried about right now. You know what I mean? Like RJ, I think it's year 4, right?
Right.
He should be accustomed to not having to work his way back in. Like, I mean, we could go back to Frank Ntilikina. That was his problem. he hit like a 2-3 game stretch of playing well, and then a hamstring, and then he's out 3 weeks, and then he had to
Right.
work his way back. You know what I mean? So hopefully, with the experience, Brunson, he seemed to come back and hit stride. Um, Rose, I'm not too worried about. I feel like what I mean, he's not going to have a large usage rated to even for it to even affect us. Granted, he's out. Rose or Brunson's back, so that's good. You know what I mean? Like we're not relying on him to start or play heavy minutes. But I think we'll be good moving up in these next couple of games. And I think I'm good for the night, man. And any last words, delusional Knicks fan? Anything you got coming out? You working on? You want to let the people know where to find you outside of YouTube, including YouTube. And of course, appreciate you jumping back in. I ain't even shoot you a text. I just sent you an email and said if you're ready, if you're available, and you popped up. I wasn't even expecting you. So that was a pleasant surprise. I appreciate it. And whenever you free, man, you always welcome to join the show.
Appreciate that.
And
Definitely.
and, and I'm waiting to jump on yours. So you let me know when you're ready for that as well.
Oh, definitely, definitely. It's always an honor, man. It just feels dope speaking with you guys. Queen and Tone is amazing
Appreciate you.
platform. Nigga Bruises is just phenomenal. So
Appreciate it.
everyone, get those likes up. Definitely. If you're not subscribed already, subscribe to Nick and Bruises. As far as me, I'm Delusional One, so you can definitely find me on the Delusional Nick Fan Network, where we bring you that Nick's content that you need. That's pretty self-explanatory. I haven't done any live shows yet. I just pretty much just put up 10-15 minute videos of just what the Knicks do, day-to-day aspects and my thoughts. But Tone, I'm definitely gonna hit you up to do some live shows when I jump into that. Queen, I would love to have you on,
Oh,
or
absolutely.
even have me on your show if it's occasionally. I'm still a rookie in the game, so
Listen,
I'll just
you're
throwing the
always
pitchman
welcome to
out.
Queen's Court every Monday and Dope Soul Sports Talk every Thursday. You are welcome on any of those shows. And matter of fact, are you have a DM, right? On Twitter? You're on
I
Twitter?
do, yes.
So I can add you. I have a guest list. So I don't have to be, sending the link to everybody. I
Individually.
just created a group and I throw the link in there. So I'll add you to that group. I'll throw the link in there. Thursday, 9 o'clock, Mondays, 8:30. If you want to hop on, more than welcome.
Perfect. Thank you guys.
Yeah, I appreciate you for joining.
Yep.
Queen, any
Appreciate you.
last words? What you got
You know
going
what?
on?
I'm excited about this Knicks team. I haven't been excited about the Knicks on this level in a little bit. Well, I shouldn't say that. I was excited 2 years ago, but I'm liking this core, this RJ Randall Brunson core. Even though RJ and Randall, they all kind of need the ball in their hands. I'm still liking them. So I'm enjoying this season. Check me on Dope Soul Sports Talk. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. I'm on every Thursday for the Just Nickin' It show. And then every morning around 9:15 after the Knicks play, I do my morning recap show. So the next one will be Thursday morning.
Nice. I want to end off with not quite an apology, but I felt like I jumped out the window a little bit during that losing streak. I kind of was out of character a little bit. Lost some of my optimism, and then coming
Really?
into
I
the
must
new
have missed
year.
that show.
Nah, you was there. I ain't. Oh no, you did miss it. You did miss it. You missed the show. We talked about it the next day. It
Okay.
was Sim show actually that
Okay.
I jumped out the window on. But it's just I'm a passionate Nick fan. One, and I felt like we had this 8-game win streak, and this losing streak was kind of just erasing it. Erasing that feeling. It took 3 losses before the losing streak actually affected me because I was still riding that wave from the 8-game win streak. But it got to the 4th loss, and I think it was the 4th loss, and I kind of lost it a little bit. So I'm back, still optimistic. We came into this year above 500, first time in 10 years. Like, so let's put some things in perspective. Like,
Right.
this is a good team we have here. We're building something, whether it's a slow build or not. Sometimes some people's mentality is you can't skip steps. Some people is like, all in, go for it all at once. Either way, I'm gonna just enjoy this ride and appreciate the chat. Appreciate you guys for joining tonight. Queen, you always here, so I'm always appreciative of that. And let's build this streak. We at 2 now. Let's surpass 8. Let's get to 10. Let's see what we could do if we could win 10. Oh yeah, Milwaukee's coming up in that stretch too. This is remember that phone call we got on Nixon on Nothing But Knicks, and the guy would say, "Yo, if we get through a certain stretch and then we beat Milwaukee, we could win." I don't remember whether he said 20 games, 30 games in a row, but we kind of in a soft patch again. You know what I mean? We got a couple of tough matchups in between, but there's another stretch right now that we should be able to take advantage of
Right.
and kind of give ourselves a cushion again as far as that win-loss column. But yeah, that's it for me. Shout out to the chat. Appreciate you. I see a lot of new faces in today. Definitely appreciate you guys. Humble down. Oh, I hit the wrong button, so I lost the chat. But appreciate you all, and we out of here. The blackest time.